Now, you may be thinking that with the anniversary already done, and we're pretty much got everything, for the summer event that's currently going on right now on the NA side of things, you might be saying NA has lost all of its hype and aura. But what if I told you there's still one more thing for summer that we haven't gotten? That's right, we need the rerun banner. It's currently not live on the NA side of things, but that's because it went live about 2 weeks after the event went live, when it originally came out. And we're going to be reaching that point around Wednesday and Thursday. Now, why is this a big deal? Well, if you're a newer player, let me break it down for you. But if you're a veteran player, you know why this banner is pretty good. You see not one, not two, but 3 bangers as your 5-star options, and you see one insanely good 4-star character, one that has some niche applicability, and I still don't know what they were doing with Garrett's over here. I feel so bad for Gareth every single day. I'm like, look, I'm sorry, Gareth fans. Y'all got done horrendous, man. They just don't like anybody that's a part of Gawain's lineage. But to break this down as to why this banner is so good, and that if you do have any Saint Quartz left, you should be considering summoning for one of these characters, I'm going to break all that down. Although I will say that at the very end of the year, we are getting Yugioh Kenshin. It's a ruler version of that Kagetora, the Lancer free-to-play. Again, trying to break it down for new players. Not everybody knows who everybody is. That character's an absolute monster. Like, she's redonkulously good. I mean, if you want a single target that is not only good going into boss fights, challenge quests, advanced quests, she can even do 90++ farming, that's going to be your girl. Like, she's ridiculously good. She's redonkulous. But in the meantime, right, I also know that macro viewing on things kind of hard to do in gacha games. You see really hype and aura banner that comes out on the game, you gotta summon, right? I understand that. Believe you me, I understand that more than anybody else. I'm definitely guilty of that. JP is really hard right now. I'm trying to save my Saint Quartz for anniversary, but it got me looking at the story banner like, I could be summoning on this though, I could get lucky. So it's like the Green Goblin mask, tempting you, be like, summon. But let's break this down. So if you don't know what Lady Avalon does, she's effectively an arts version of Merlin. Well, what does Merlin do? Merlin provides pretty much general, universal stuff to the entire party. You might think that he is just only going to be used in Buster team comps, but truthfully, everything that Merlin does pretty much has universal applicability. He's giving attack, NP, team support with the invincibility for everybody. His NP just gives 3 basic things that everybody wants. That's NP, stars, and HP. And even though, yes, his 3rd skill does have a buster buff on it, it also is all just giving max HP, and it's giving a large critical damage buff. So realistically, you could use him anywhere. Lady Avalon pretty much is just the arts version of that Merlin. Now, a lot of people will say that she is a power creep on Merlin now that Merlin has his buff. I think it's a little give and take. The difference is that all of Merlin's stuff on his NP lasts 5 turns, so it's a lot easier to double stack those together, whereas Lady Avalon has a lot of her buffs being only 3 turns. But because she's an arts character, you could still kind of easily get a double stack going if you are going for it. Double stacking meaning that you are having 2 of her NPs in rotation going at one time. So instead of like 5% NP every single turn, you're generating 10. You're getting like big max HP instead of the healing for Merlin. And the other notable difference, though, for her that I do think does give her a little bit of that edge is, one, that her invincibility skill, instead of just lowering the enemy's critical attack chance, it's giving her a way to automatically fire her NP on the first turn so you can immediately get into it, and her charisma gives you an NP overcharge for everybody in your party. Why is that good? Well, I mean, even for herself, that's just more stars every single turn. But if you're pairing her with another art support, say you don't have Castoria, but you're borrowing a friend's, or you don't have your own Tamamos, even for them, they're getting insanely powerful effects off of that. Castoria is going to be able to provide you with more solemn defense buffs depending on her overcharge. Tamamo refunds more of the party's NP whenever her overcharge is going up. I mean, and then when you just get into your DPSs, right, think of like a Muramasa, right? Muramasa is stacking more damage. Typically, a lot of your characters, like say like your summer Ibukis, have their power mods tied to their overcharge, so they are just hitting harder against their niche. And when your niche is very broad in general, like every single earth attribute enemy in the game, that's really, really strong. So if you just need yourself a good art support, Lady Avalon is not bad. And if you're concerned about being able to do arts looping, say maybe you pulled for Ruler Melusine and you're like, I'm kind of having a hard time farming, first of all, shouldn't be that hard because you have access to people like Paracelsus and Zhu Fu, and you should have picked up that free waiver when you finished for Yuki. But she can help you get the job done, because not only does she give you a little bit of extra battery, but she's giving you that massive arts buff, which is also giving you more NP refund on your arts cards, so you can get the job done with a friend Castoria, your own Lady Avalon, and then maybe plug suiting out for like a Zhufu or an Asclepius once he gets his buff. Although, even then, right now, Asclepius is still really strong pre-buff. So, if you just need yourself a support that can kind of do anything you want, especially in regards to a lot of your arts characters and your setups, Lady Avalon is going to be your go-to. On the other side of that, if you want the premier best quick support in the game, you go for Scotty Ruler. That is because Scotty Ruler, even if you already have Caster Scotty, is giving you a 65% quick buff instead of just the 50% that the normal Scotty gives you. That might not seem like a lot, but when you have two of these, that is an additional 30% quick you are getting from Scotty Ruler over the original Caster Scotty, which not only means more damage for your quick characters, but most importantly, more refund on your quick cards, and it actually starts to allow you to use quick characters with stuff like Black Grail, because they're getting to a point where they can actually refund enough of their NP. Now, she does have a little bit of an oddity that she is buffing your Buster crit damage, and you might be thinking, well, why would I want my quick characters to have Buster crit damage when they are quick characters? But if you combine her with, say, plug suiting in an OG Caster Scotty, that is going to be giving you 200% Buster crit damage, presuming you have your own Scotty Ruler, and you're bringing a friend for that. And then you're plug suiting in, your own Caster Scotty. That's 200% on your Buster cards and 100% on your quick cards, meaning 4 of your 5 face cards for your primary DPS have over 100% crit damage, not including their own native crit damage that they might have. It means that even if you only have like an NP1 character, going into boss fights and stuff, you are going to shred and mow down any enemy you come into contact with, because you're going to be critting for a just fluid amount of damage. Like, you're just going to be absolutely decimating these guys as you go into those fights. There's also the fact that she still provides the 50% battery, that's targetable for this, so, you're not losing out on that. And she does have the benefit that if you don't have a strong quick character right now, she can at least be that DPS for you, and she does have a power mod against lawful enemies, so even though I don't think that is the craziest power mod for her to have, it is still something, right? They at least give you something to work with. It's kind of like pulling for Koyanskaya, that if you don't have a Buster Looper of your own, Koyanskaya technically can fill that role for you. Even if she's not the greatest at it, she is still able to get the job done for you. Like, you could still use her until you actually get somebody that is capable of doing the looping. Now, I'm prioritizing going over these two first because these are supports. FGO is built on its supports. The way the game works is that you can effectively, and this is kind of with an asterisk on it, but you can effectively use whoever you want as long as you have the proper supports. And there's an asterisk next to that because, say for instance, for Buster characters, right? If you want to use them for looping, some characters are just hard limited of not being able to be a part of the Buster meta. Look at somebody like, well, unfortunately Gareth over here, or somebody like the original Canis that only have a 20% battery. You need at bare minimum a 30% battery to really be relevant in the Buster meta, to even be allowed in the club, as it was. I mean, that's why you'll see recently with someone like Iskandar getting a buff, they basically just slapped a 30% battery on him and called him a day, because that just allows him to do Buster farming. And that means he goes from a character that's not very useful to now being one of the better rider servants in the game, because he already hits so hard, and now he can also do the looping. So I'm prioritizing going over them. But say you already have somebody like a Castoria, or you've already got a Lady Avalon, you've already got some pretty decent picks when it comes to being able to support your arts characters, and you didn't pull for Ruler Melusine, then Summer Ibuki, I mean, this is an absolute god for you. I mean, this is a character that I have been using for the last 2 years on JP, and, you know, for that first year they were NP1, and then the second year I got a second copy on a Destiny Order summon, and, I mean, she was already doing really good before the NP2. Getting her to the NP2, this character is an absolute monster. I've pretty much used them everywhere. I mean, for the most recent Lotto, the 90++, I was like, oh, I don't know. This, you know, Summer Ibuki might not be able to do this one. And she was like, nope, check this out. Mopped them up. Just absolutely just destroyed the 90++. So, like, this character is so strong. Just to get into it, on their own, they're already good. But when you consider going into more and more difficult fights, the fact that she has team support on a DPS is redonkulous, right? Not only is she giving the charisma to everybody, so everybody's getting extra attack, but say you only need your Summer Ibuki to, clear through one node. I'm thinking of like the Lilim Harlot, the Draco event. That 90++, I used Draco and Summer Ibuki to clear through that when it had its rerun over on JP, and I would just give Draco the second skill buff from Summer Ibuki, because I was like, well, Ibuki only needs to clear out the giants on the second wave, and this will give extra damage to my NP1 Draco on JP, and that actually pushed her over the edge to being able to just cleanly one-shot with no RNG the final boss for that, the big Da Vinci you have to fight at the very end. So, all that to say, while Ruler Melusine is still really, really strong, I don't want to demean her at all in this video talking about how good, Summer Ibuki is and why she's worth summoning for. They just kind of do different things. Melusine is very selfish, right? She's very, good on her own. The 80% battery is really nice if you just want to use Melusine by herself, but if you're going to ever be using a multi-core setup, that is where you have two different DPSs to try and clear a 90++ node. In most instances, it's going to be for 90++. Summer Ibuki is going to reign supreme, just for the fact that she's still strong enough to take out all these waves pretty much without her second skill, but then that added support of functionally being able to have an extra support. Like when you're doing multi-core, you're losing out on an additional support. Typically, you can only rely in, say, art setups, the double Castoria, because you're going to be plug suiting one Castoria for the other, because you have your single target and your AoE DPS. So one of your other DPS servants being able to flex as functionally that third support is insanely strong. And she's still rocking her own 50% battery, her own really strong power mod and earth attribute. And then I guess going into CQs and stuff, I don't know, removing all defensive buffs is pretty good. It's just a little good. It's a little bit strong, Enemies give themselves an invincibility or a dodge or damage cut or something annoying along those lines, and Ibuki just yeets that off of them. She just says, nope, that's no more of that for you. It doesn't get around unremovable buffs, in which case, something like Pierce Invincibility technically would be better. It's still just really nice. It does make your life really easy going into a lot of boss fights. Sure, bosses are going to have their unremovable things, but it's not like they're all packing unremovable invincibility and damage cut and dodge and all that stuff. You're going to get some value out of it. So, suffice to say, all three of these characters rerunning is ridiculous. I mean, there was a reason last year that these were the most sought-after characters coming out, because they're all insanely good. Arts gains access to their own Merlin, and just basically having a character that can let you do the arts looping if you missed out on Castoria. Quick got an insane buff in being able to finally do Black Grail farming because of just how good this Scotty Ruler is, in addition to being able to plug suit in now the caster Scotty, to make their own kind of quick triple Scotty setup. And then Ibuki's just nuts. This is just a nuts to butts crazy DPS character that is just always putting in the work, even 2 years later on the JP side of things. I think we're also going on 3 years now for her on JP, which is ridiculous that it's been that long, and she's just still a mistake. It's still a mistake that they ever put this character out. So let me know if you're going to be pulling on these in the comment section down below. I didn't touch too much on the 4-stars over here because the 5s are so good that I believe they put Gareth with Lady Avalon because they knew, they're like, okay, well, we know we're not going to make Gareth super good, which, why? Just make the character better, just give her the 30%. I don't know why you would hold her back like that. But they were like, we can just toss whoever on these banners because these characters are so crazy that we could put Giles Caster over here. We could put the boy Babbage on right up with these guys, and people would still summon on these banners, and they would be correct. You could throw whoever you want as the 4-star on right up over here, and people would still summon because these banners are nuts. It does really help, though, that this banner is really strong if you're trying to buff up the offensive side of the arts characters on your account, because this is a AoE arts character. This is a single target, and she's not bad. I mean, she's rocking the power mod against cursed enemies, which you could just use command codes to fill out her, command card. So functionally, anytime she hits an enemy, she's turning on her power mod. She also has that small power mod against servant enemies, which, I don't know, have you fought any servants in Fate Grand Order where the primary characters are servants? You ever fight those guys? Yeah, they're pretty common, right? You fight them just maybe a few times. You might find a servant here or there. And then Wu Zacian, I mean, she's aight. She has kind of a fun niche. It's a little gimmicky. I wouldn't say it's the best thing you could be doing, obviously, but it's not bad if you do want to use it. But a little bit more of a gimmicky thing. I think they knew what they were doing, putting her as more of a gimmicky character with the Scotty Ruler over here. But let me know in the comment section down below whether or not you're going to be pulling on this banner. I am sorry that the video is coming out later today. Yesterday, I was pre-recording stuff for the next event that's coming out on NA. And for some reason in my head that clicked that I already recorded that video, because I was like, oh yeah, I recorded a video today, and then I, sent that off to the editor, and then I didn't realize that. Oh, it's like, oh, wait a minute, no, that was the video. That's not the video for Monday. So I was like, oh, whoops. And then, today I woke up a little bit later, and I was like, oh, wait, did I not make the video for today? So I was like, all right, well, let me just help people out with the upcoming stuff that's coming out on NA. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope this was kind of nice to help you guys out. If you want a rededicated video going more in depth on some of these people, I have no issue going back and like doing an updated, servant video on these guys when they do come out. So if you do want that, let me know in the comment section down below. But with all that being said, I think I'm going to go ahead and get out of here so I can stop yapping and hopefully get this video out at a reasonable time today. But with that being said, I'm out. All right, enough yapping. Bye-bye.